Thank you, Mary, very much. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. As Mary already mentioned, I am Anna Kurowska from the University of Warsaw, and I'm proud to be part of the rEUsilience team. Today, I would like to share with you key insights from focus group interviews with families across 6 countries participating in the project. We live in complex times, and families, particularly those with limited resources, low resources, are facing immense pressures. And in the project, we wanted to understand this reality deeply from the perspective of those who live it every day. We also wanted to look to shed light on strategies families use to cope with the risks they face, as well as we wanted to learn what kinds of support they use and what solutions are still needed so the families can avoid negative outcomes. So we gathered evidence from 41 focus group interviews, including 313 participants across 6 countries. We selected different types of families, so low-income families, families living in rural areas, with immigrant background, with unpaid caregivers, as well as single-parent families. As Renz already mentioned, we listened to their stories, their challenges, and strategies for managing. What emerged was a powerful but also difficult picture. The lives of families were marked by a state of scarcity. And it's not only about scarcity of money, although inadequate income was a pervasive and profound difficulty, but it was also about scarcity of secure paid work and scarcity of time, often eaten up by demanding care and childcare and work responsibilities. So the families that we interviewed were facing not just one risk, but many different risks that tended to compound one another, what already Renz mentioned in his keynote speech. The intersection of these 3 spheres of scarcity was termed by Professor Mary as a care trilemma. Why? Because care obligations for children and adults were the center of it. So families were facing difficult trade-offs. Increasing engagement in paid work in order to gain more money very often meant that you don't have time for care. So it was not about choosing an optimal, it was not an optimal choice and choosing an optimal solution. It was really navigating situation where the resources, the options are very limited, and choice in one sphere leads to a deprivation in another. So this is a picture of really compounded risks that families face. Let's now have a look at strategies that families used to face one of the type of the risk that I mentioned, the scarcity of money. So we identified absorptive and adaptive strategies, 2 types. So absorptive strategies try to manage the situation within existing resources. And these, for example, included reducing consumption, for example, cutting electricity, limiting meals out, family activities out, looking for bargains and second-hand products, switching to cheaper version of products, exchanging goods between families, as well as using non-waste techniques, for example, preparing food in a different way so it can last longer. There were also adaptive strategies, which mean that the families seek to extend the resources and to change overall situation, to transform the situation. So these included taking extra work, for example, starting a business, retraining. Also, in some cases, it was very particular for Poland, starting whole production of goods and services for your personal use, but also for sale. But adaptive strategies require time, learning new skills, and what is most important, very often taking new risks. And if you are compounded with different types of risks that intersect with each other, if you are immersed in a care trilemma, it's very difficult to really, undertake these adaptive strategies and to transform your situation. In such situations, families need support. And they were using support, many different types of support. Here I'm only pointing at two major sources of support. So extended family was ranked highest overall, especially in Poland and Spain, probably due to prevailing norms. But participants were mentioning, there expressed qualms about asking other relatives for help. And also the availability of help was depending on the quality of relationships, as well as on the fact that whether the relatives had the resources there by themselves, right? So overall, we can summarize that on the one hand, family is very important, but on the other hand, family safety net is too fragile to be counted upon, except for the minority. NGOs were also very helpful in different ways. One of the ways they helped was to navigate complex, difficult formal systems. And at the same time, when it comes to welfare state, the picture was largely one of a critique, except for comments from mostly immigrant groups who are comparing the system to their countries of origin. Then we saw positive comments, but overall, the picture was one of a critique. So what was criticized? Inadequate level of benefits, poor access to health and care services, which are so crucial for these types of families. Bureaucracy, complex procedures, delays, lacks of transparency, and disrespectful treatment by staff very often. So if I were to choose one message that comes out of these focus group interviews, I would say that we have to go beyond expecting individual family resilience. These families do a lot, really. They try everything they can. But they need systemic, transparent, accessible, and generous social policies. So we can equip these families with real capacities to be resilient to compounded risks. Thank you very much.